Yo, what's going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, we're making Psy great again! With the release of the new Memories of the Straw Hat Sanji, Psy got a pretty big buff. Alongside Sanji comes the Pirate Festival Rare Recruit Gin, who unfortunately I didn't pick up. Look, I'm not going to chase that unit. We did pick up Sanji though, because Sanji is very, very good, as well as bringing a lot to some int nerfing. So in today's video, we are going to try and target some int-based teams. Obviously, int got one of the biggest buffs of the 10th anniversary with the addition of Gear 5 int Luffy. The dude is an absolute monster over in the Grand Party game mode. He's an absolute demon over here in PvP. And if you take on Free Spirit teams with int Gear 5, it can be a little bit challenging. And you're probably thinking, but Stump, the new Sanji is a Free Spirit character. The team you're rocking has 4 Free Spirit characters in the front lines, so when you do go up against Gear 5 Luffy, you're going to be in for a bad time. However, as you guys saw there, Sanji can do a lot of damage, like a lot of damage. And obviously, that was not the pinnacle of what the int team has to offer. However, every time you see Gear 5 Luffy, the int one, you are going to be terrified if you are running either a Psy team or that Psy Free Spirit variant. But we do have some options here. We do have Wano Law to help slow something like int Luffy down. That can work exceptionally well. We have Yamato with half stats, and we can actually go very, very fast, thanks to Enel and the cooldowns that Law can provide. Now, Psy just have so many different options. They have a lot of Pirate Festival rare recruits. They have a lot of very good legends at their disposal, but for myself, I still see them as just outside the top 5. They've always been that team for me that when I verse it, it always pops off, and when I use it, it really doesn't go anywhere. Psy and int have always had this battle as well, where like Psy beats int and int beats Psy, but int have always seemed to have more Psy nerfers than what Psy has for ints. But as soon as Wano Law obviously gets his 6+, that's going to be a little bit of a different story. But int has also sort of evolved away from the powers-driven meta, so there's also that option there too. But as I was saying, Psy, they just kind of fall out of that sort of top 5 echelons for me. They do sit around that sort of 6th/7th spots, alongside Dex. Still very, very good in PvP, but just sort of not pushing that sort of best team in the game. However, if you did try the PvP challenge, that was very, very challenging. However, Psy is super boosted this season, and if you could run an 8-man team of all of the Psy options, you'd be in for a really, really good time. The downside to Psy is they've always had really good frontline options, but never really a solid bench equipment. But now they kind of do. We can run Kawamatsu, obviously, we can use Zoro. They have very good units for the front lines. Enel has just, like, aged like fine wine, and you could bring Rebecca Toy Soldier in the front lines if you're going up against more slasher-centric characters, and you could also bring Shanks in the front line if you need more damage. But Shanks off the bench works exceptionally if you are running in to those more slasher-centric teams, especially S-Hawk. And obviously, S-Hawk has caused so much havoc within the PvP game mode that having a way to sort of take him down works exceptionally well. And slashers, I hate to say it, but are starting to fall off a little bit because we have a lot of counters for them alongside units that have been around for a while. Enel and Rebecca Toy Soldier have always been exceptional at taking down slashers. They were initially put in the game to stop the original OG disgusting slasher team, and now with Sanji and Wano Law, the combination of those two just stopping S-Hawk especially allows you to sort of safely and comfortably take down the slasher team within the meta. Now, again, this is the challenge fight. It's not the big old slasher team that we know and love. However, it is pretty impressive to see us just absolutely tear through characters like S-Hawk, do a lot of damage to characters like Doflamingo with that Sanji special that can absolutely arse blast in. Now, Sanji is the name of the game here, so I'm going to talk about him just a little bit. He is a fighter Free Spirit character, so you can build out that Psy Free Spirit team if you really want to. He buffs Psy teammates, and he also has some debuffing for int-based enemies. His special does a lot of damage to int units as a secondary shot, but primarily the damage is built around his very first shot, which will hit the entire squad, which is great. So you can just bring him on your Psy Free Spirit teams or your regular Psy team, and that way you can still get a bunch of damage off. He gives level 5 attack, level 5 speed, and level 5 HP, and then gives defense down level 5 to your int-based enemies. Now, as you guys can see here, like, just because we are bringing a very good, like, anti-slash team, like, you can still get absolutely mollywopped by stuff like, what's his name? Roger and Whitebeard. even if you do kill S-Hawk very, very quickly. Sanji's damage after 30 seconds is very, very strong. He does level 5 attack up to Psy teammates, and then targets 2 enemies with low defense for 3 times his attack twice, and then targets 3 enemies for a massive 1.5 times damage that ignores defense. This is very reminiscent of the Strength Luffy and how much damage he can output. However, Sanji will only target int-based characters with this damage, and he'll only hit 3 of them once. I feel like it would have been way better if Sanji hit 3 times rather than hitting 3 int-type enemies, because if there's not 3 int-type enemies, you are basically only hitting 1 to 2, and if there are 5 int enemies, you can't really select which ones you want to take down. Obviously, if there's 3 int enemies or whatever, like, you are going to struggle there, and Sanji's best option is being used as a unit on a Psy-based team that can take down int. However, like I said, int and Psy kind of have that back and forth battle where int have a lot of characters that can nerf Psy, but Psy doesn't have all that many characters that can nerf int. But Sanji is part of that renaissance of characters that now can, and with his ability to lower defense and then do all this damage output, brings characters like Enel back into the fray, brings characters like Yamato back into the fray, mainly because like Yamato's biggest weakness was that if she didn't hit the half stat units, then she wasn't really doing that much damage. Shanks' damage obviously gets increased because you are lowering defense by level 5, and stereotypically, the very, very powerful int-driven team, or the int powerhouse team that used to float around, that had a lot of defense, a lot of HP, doesn't really exist anymore. And what we do have is this particular int team that can go very quickly, or it can roll back specials, or it can do a lot of damage with S-Hawk. But now, lowering their defense just means that characters like Enel can really shine, and you don't have to sort of funnel into just versing something like slasher teams. I do find that Psy is probably going to be used most against slashers, if that's where I'm going to be using them. Obviously against other int teams as well, but say the int team had something like Conus, if they had something like 6+ Shanks, if they have units like Apu in the front lines, and other characters that are very, very good at nerfing Psy, just remember you're in for a rough time, because as you can see here, they can still do some pretty nasty things. So we're back in that era of Psy vs int and int vs Psy. Let me know who you guys like more down below. With the addition of the new int Gear 5 Luffy, I think that int sort of have the edge, but we are on the journey to make Psy great again. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you go in there, belt the like button for me, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. Most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Let's